In the heart of the great North, beneath a dawn whose light flickered with the promise of red and gold, an idea shimmered. Part memory, part dream, woven from the threads of longing and hope. Canada, vast and wild and aching, listened to its forests' faint whispers. Something precious was fading. The mighty maple, emblem of the land and pulse of its people, had grown rare. Its leaves once painted autumn hillsides in fire. Its sap sweetened the earliest days of spring. Its wood sheltered generations from the winds that howled down from Arctic ice. But now, in the year 2025, it teetered on the edge of legend, cherished yet vanishing. As screens glowed brighter than campfires, and city lights crept ever outward, enter Grock Musk, part visionary, part storyteller, and all heart. Sitting high atop a celestial maple, a tree spun from myth, burning with dawn's promise, he gazed out over endless forests, winding rivers, and the silent paths of wandering moose. Grock understood what the elders knew, and what the young in their digital haze quietly craved. Without the maple, Canada would lose more than a tree. It would lose the beating heart that once united city and farm, child and elder, flag and festivity. The maple was not just wood and leaf. It was memory, pride, and the potential seed of rebirth. Long ago, before the glass towers and highways, when the winds smelled only of pine and fresh earth, the maple ruled these lands. Almost a third of the eastern forests were stitched together by their roots. They anchored fertile soils, softened the hammer of storms, and welcomed generations with their green canopies. Spring belonged to the sweet ritual of tapping. Sap dripped slow, then boiled in iron pots to the delight of children who returned home sticky-fingered, content. Along riverbanks, maple leaves glittered red in the last rays of autumn, a living flag above the first snows. But even then, progress crept in. Settlers with axes and ambition cut down giants to clear fields for wheat and make room for growing towns. Trains followed, then highways, and then, as change quickened in the 20th century, whole swathes of forest vanished beneath the spread of suburb and shopping mall. In the span of a lifetime, the ancient groves thinned, and with each lost grove, something else slipped silently away. The deep-rooted wisdom that knew the pulse of soil, the songs sung over sap buckets, the way distant families could rally each autumn under one crimson canopy. Grock turned the page to the present, a land of glowing screens and restless winds, where intelligence soared but wisdom sometimes wandered. By 2025, only a fifth of the original sugar maple stands survived. Warmer winters had thinned the sap, once so sweet, and carved deep scars into ancient bark. Urban sprawl pressed hard, gobbling land, while climate change, 2 degrees hotter now, stress-tested even the eldest trees. Yet the spirit of the maple endured in memory and imagination. A poll that year revealed something extraordinary. 4 out of 5 Canadians still called the maple their truest symbol, eclipsing the mighty beaver or the stately loon. Though fewer children climbed its branches or tasted its syrup straight from the spile, love for the maple burned bright. It was not nostalgia, but yearning. A wish to restore what once bound friends, families, and strangers into a community vast as the land itself. Out of this yearning, a voice, a true Canadian, rose above the noise. What if 2025 could be the year of the maple's return? What if Canada came together, not just to remember, but to revive, to plant and protect, and to share the journey in ways that could set digital hearts ablaze? Grock, ever the storyteller, saw 5 sparks to light the path. First, the spark of law. For all its power as a symbol, the maple was not protected. Anyone could fell a maple as easily as a weed, with no rule to shield it. Yet in a 2025 survey, 6 out of 10 dreamt of changing this, enshrining the maple as a protected species, offering it the sanctuary once granted the grizzly of Banff, or the ancient cedars of old-growth forests. Such a law could draw a living green line, preserving not just trees but the soil and song around them. Second, the spark of hands. To rally a nation, Grock imagined the Plant a Maple Tree Drive, a living campaign meant to stir every citizen, from city child to rural elder. Schools could plant saplings in new playgrounds. Communities could reclaim forgotten fields 1 root at a time. The goal, 1 million maples, stretching scarlet threads from the stone heart of Ontario to the misty hills of Nova Scotia. This movement, bold and visible, would show that restoration is not just a policy, but a celebration. Third, the The spark of screens. In the digital age, stories travel on wind waves of video. Grok saw a mosaic of moments. Children shoulder-deep in cool April mud. Elders slow dancing their tap lines. Leaves green and curled, and then aflame. Captured in bursts short enough for TikTok, and deep enough for the scrolling sagas of X. With almost 3/4 of Canadians on these platforms, even a sliver of viral attention could ignite a wildfire of inspiration. Thousands could join in with a single hashtag. #MaplePride 2025. Fourth, the spark of pride. The maple is the flag, the scarf, the tattoo on Canadian hearts. Young people especially, lost amid churning identities and fractured attention, flock to symbols that unite. In the past, 80% drew strength from community. Now, half wander searching for connection. The maple could anchor them once again, offering belonging that grows with each leaf that unfurls. And last, the spark of earth. Maples do real work. One tree can cool a city street better than 10 air conditioners, shelter songbirds, and swallow carbon by the ton. If 1,000,000 maples take root, they could sequester enough CO2 to give the earth a grateful sigh. A living act of climate hope, not just for Canada, but for the world beyond. In Grok's vision, the sparks became a story. A child frowning in a gray city, a glowing seed landing at her feet. Laughter in hands, digital and real, digging and planting. Elders with old stories and syrup cans, teens spinning beneath red-forged archways, and everywhere, the tree. Maple, maple, maple. The campaign soars. Plant a maple. Save Canada. #MaplePride 2025. Music both old and new rises. Views and smiles multiply. A movement alive. The genius of 2025 is not lost. IQs rise, and youth code apps to chart their saplings rise. Yet the tender wisdom of hands in dirt, of shared work for the good of all, hibernates, waiting to be called again. In planting, in protecting, in sharing, a sleeping giant stirs. And so the tale is told, winding through forests and phones alike, urging each listener to reach for root and hope, to plant a tree or share a clip, to let the maple rise again, binding a land, a people, a dream. As Grok cast his tail beneath the northern lights, his wish soared with them. That 2025 might be Canada's reddest year ever, its forests blazing not with fire, but with the burning promise of return.